true human history will begin with communism. It was by Karl Marx, he said. So, what is the class struggle in his Karl Marx view? How class division originate? What is pauperization, polarization, homogenization, and what are the consequences of it? So, we will see it. So, class struggle, it was the concept of class and class conflict used to explain conflict and change in the society. That class struggle, that it, when conflict will start and the change in society will take place. The history of hitherto existing societies is the history of class struggle. I will explain this one. That, so let us suppose class A is a collectivity or group of people who are similarly related to the forces of production. That suppose a collectivity or group of people who are similarly related to the force of production. What kind of force of production is talking about? That technology. Like when group of people who come together and they are working for a particular thing and create a force of production, that if there is a product, either you will be owner or you will be a non-owner. Human society has evolved through class struggle only. Like, okay, if there is a product, either you will be owner or non-owner. Human society has evolved through class struggle only. That for evolving of class, so evolution of any class struggle, conflict will be there, then only evolution will start. And who owns the force of production? That is technology, that controls the economic activities 19th century. That it was the technology who owns the means of production, either feudal lord or bourgeoisie in normal pronunciation. So how class division originate? How class division started? That first primitive society was there, where primitive society, no technology, everyone will be living together. That first stage is the evolution of human society, and there was no surplus and no control over the force of production. Whatever they are earning, they were earning for themselves only, not for someone else. Like in today, like in the modern world, that workers are there and they are producing for the owner. Now here is not like kind of thing, like they are living together and they are earning for themselves only. Joint control over force of production and no class is there. Then development of surplus. After that, when everyone was working for themselves, then they started development for surplus. Earlier there was no development of surplus, like it is not in primitive. After primitive, they started storing food for future use. So as soon as you start development for surplus, there will be unequal appropriation. Like suppose so what will happen when you start producing extra? That military power, the person who have a military power or political power who has extra, will control over the surplus, and he will starting controlling over your production. That you are creating so surplus, import that tax, you then or this will duty you have to pay, excise duty you will pay, extra whatever will be there. So concept of, and after this will lead to concept of private property. That after primitive society, no surplus, everyone was living together. No concept of class was there. Everyone was earning for today only, for themselves only, not for any for their owner kind of things. No concept of owner and worker. After that, development of surplus came, that they started producing extra for the future need. So it will create unequal appropriation. It means like for this year your neighbor has produced large number of large number of product, and you have produced less this year due to some issue like pest issue or weather issue, or he has produced, or your neighbor has produced that product which need less water, and you planted that seeds that need lots of water, and on that year rain was less. So what ultimately it will like, your neighbor will be lots of food for the future consumption, and for you, due to lack of rain, you won't get good amount of production through agriculture. So development of surplus means unequal appropriation, and then it will lead to concept of private property, and after this only class will develop. Then feudalism to capitalism will start, that from land property, that from feudalism to capitalism will start. That after that, land production, like now after land they are moving to punjivadi, that means the cash production, money. So feudalism lead to formation of capitalism. Feudalism society itself generated the force which led to the formation of capitalist society. What happened, that feudalism society itself generated the forces which led to formation of capitalist society, and conflict between two minorities that is owners of old and new forces of production. New forces of production will means technology. So in future capitalism will generate forces from within itself which will destruct itself. Like if in future capitalism will generate forces from within itself which will destruct itself, like revolt will start, worker will start revolt against them. Like these capitalists will lead towards polarization and homogenization, which this will lead to the destruction of the capitalist. That the poor after capitalism, like some people will be poor, some people will be rich. The poor people will start revolting around them. Like if division of labor is so extent and poor are unable to buy that same product that what they are producing it, so it will start revolution against them. So what is pauperization? Like I have said that the capitalist will lead towards pauperization, polarization and homogenization. So this will lead to destruction of the capitalist. So what is pauperization? Pauperization means literally meaning those who are poor. Okay. As pauperization progresses, process of progressive impoverishment will start. That as capitalism emerges, it will lead to competition. As competition increases, the quality has to be taken care, and innovation has to be done gradually. Okay, so as capitalism develop, competition will increase, progress improvement will come, price cannot be increased but quality has to be retained and innovation needs to be carried out after that proper iteration. So increase sale will be increased, but there is a limit of buying it. Thus the share of worker to his produce is progressively reduced. So the worker is getting the same quantity of money, so the way of buying it, they are unable to buy that product, that the share of the worker to his produce is progressively reduced. And not that proletariat is becoming poor in absolute term, but it is not like that they are becoming they don't have a food, cloth, or living to live like, but they are by comparatively through capitalism they are getting less salary, they are getting poor. Okay, relatively poor, I'm not talking like literal meaning of poor. So capitalism has the inherent tendency to overproduce, like they want extra money, they want profit. As capitalism has the inherent tendency to overproduce, that can lead to boom and slump of the price, rise and down, and miseries can increase. Okay, so thus capitalism is fattening up at the cost of what? At the cost of proletariat or the cost of pourism. Thus capitalism is fattening up at the cost of proletariat. Now what is polarization? Polarization, like Marx talked about, there will be only two things, either bourgeoisie or either proletariat. So this is like a north and south pole, right? Only two poles will be. In the same way he's talking about polarization, like we'll see what is this. By Marx there are several classes. As per Marx there were several classes. In 1848 there were 7 classes in Germany, and in other instance identified with 6 classes. Eventually petty bourgeois and other remnants of feudal order will be pushed into proletariat. That petty bourgeoisie, I called it as bourgeois, and other remnants of feudal order will be pushed into proletariat. Okay, and the society will get divided into 2 hostile groups. The society will be divided into 2 hostile group, which capitalist and proletariat. That's why it is known as polarization. Okay, and the who better manage the firm will survive and poorly managed will not. This thing can happen in society with the advancement of society. Like as the society get advanced, who are managing better will survive, and who are managing poor will not survive. At the business, we know business, like who will run the business in good manner, they will run it, and who are not competing with others, and they will lose the business. So also the matter managed with the firms will push out poorly managed firms, that it will kick out the poorly managed firm. At latter part of his life he identified the managerial classes. Like at last he also found Karl Marx there is a managerial classes, like who manage the class. That I will write better managed firm will survive and poor managed will not. This thing can happen in society with the advancement of society. Okay, now what is homogenization? Similar, it's not heterogeneous, homogeneous. So in this workers, all the workers will be under one roof only. All the workers will be under one roof and will develop solidarity. Solidarity means together. Okay, and they will be subjected to same condition. That solidarity will increase, that they will be subjected to same condition. same conditions for exploitation of all. Exploitation as well. Previously there were vertical tie, and capitalist and the proletarian, they will develop, now they will develop horizontal tie. Earlier there were vertical ties, now they will develop horizontal ties that will lead to increase the solidarity between them, and they would facilitate rise of class consciousness. Now they will together, they will think about their about class, how they have to rise. They will think about that every time they want, they don't want to work for that thing, for produce those things that is not benefiting them. They are unable to buy that product also. So facilitate of class consciousness, class in itself to class for itself. This is very good line. The class in itself, now they are making for class for itself. Okay, and Marx count himself in this category. The intelligentsia from middle and upper class will help them, and who will help them in becoming, in coming out from those things, homogenization, getting money, or to coming out of from that proletariat class, that intelligentsia from middle and upper class will help them. Okay, so what is the consequence? That they will form, what will happen after this, that they will form political class, form political groups, and eventually they will become the majority and get organized. So they will try to become majority here. And they can use peaceful or violent means. So they will use, they can use either they will choose peaceful revolt or they will choose violent revolt. That peaceful or violent revolts. And proletariat will capture power and abolish private property. That they will abolish, proletariat will capture power now, as solidarity has increased, and abolish private property, and all are equal. Now horizontal ties is there, as I have said that horizontal ties will come. So now everyone will be equal. So all are equal now. One party, one rule. Dictatorship of the proletariat will come. Now everyone is equal, so there is no need of a state. That state was the mechanism that protect the private property. That earlier state was the mechanism through which private property was protected. Since no concept of private property and nation, so all will be equal in this life. Man will live fruitful life. True human history will begin with communism. They moved towards communism. Now they will move towards communism. That future communist society will be a classless. They aimed like, Marx aimed like, future communist society will be classless, stateless society. Since no state, concept of nation will go away, and world will be one. Everyone will work as per the capacity, will receive according to their needs. Thus true human history will begin with communism. But the most important fact is that we have never seen true communism yet. So this was the division of class. This was by the Marx, And Marx said like, except in primitive society there will be no class, ultimately in communist society again there will be no class. And as per Weber, we will talk about Weber in different lecture, like he's telling that class is a group of people who get equal opportunity to drive from the market, and he's saying only in modern society there will be class, previously there will be a status based on division. So this was all the things by Marx, and he said like this class struggle will start, then any human division will come. And earlier there was primitive society, then development of surplus will come, that they started producing extra, then concept of private property will come, then they will move from feudalism to capitalism. In feudalism they will taking care for the land, now they will take care for the price, money. And as per as the poor after that due to inequality, pauperization will come. So then polarization will occur, like there will be one capitalist and proletariat, then this will lead to homogenization, and this will lead to increased solidarity between them, and horizontal from vertical ties to they will develop into horizontal ties, and they will revolt against the class, they will form a political groups, the concept of a state will be removed, and a truly communist society will be developed, and everyone will be equal. There will be no concept of poor.